What's up? Once again, it's your man ChazzEllis giving you the information that you asked me for. Well, here's a different situation. Y'all are used to it though. It's when I tell a story about my life that gives you an opportunity to be able to look at something in your life and maybe learn something from it. Maybe you won't learn nothing from it, but at least you probably be entertained. You get a couple laughs in, chuckle, ha, ha, ha. I don't know, whatever the case may be. But hopefully you do learn something from it. Anyway, back when I was in high school, I knew this girl. She was cool as heck. It's a real cool chick. But her parents were super, super strict. They were like the strictest people that I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, it was like when she was a junior in high school, she couldn't even go to a football game. You know, I'm not even talking about going to like the after parties or nothing like that. I'm talking about she could not even go to the actual game. It was crazy. Like, she wasn't even allowed to have people call her house. I'm not talking about she wasn't allowed to have boys call her house. I'm not talking about she wasn't allowed to have people call her house at a certain time. I'm talking about she was not allowed to have people call her house on the phone. Period. You could not call her house at all. I remember one time she went to a game. And you like, I thought you said she wasn't allowed to go to games. Her parents showed up. She was a junior. Nobody, ain't had no family member on the team. Nothing. Her parents showed up and made her sit with them the whole time. I would have rather not even go. I mean, think about it. Think about being a junior in high school and your parents making you go to the game with them and sit by them the whole time. Like, how humiliating is that? You know? So, anyway, she basically couldn't do anything. So anyway, somehow, well, first of all, what she would do is, because she couldn't talk on the phone, she would finagle all kind of different ways to be able to get on the phone, right? So what she would do, like, she would, this is like the last year or two when pagers was still in, like, you know, cell phones was really, they were out. It wasn't like the brick cell phone, nothing like that, but cell phones were out and they were popular, but it wasn't like every high school kid had a cell phone like they do now, you know, where, you know, I know 9-year-olds got cell phones. Like, it wasn't like that back then, you know. Technology has moved pretty quickly. So anyway, when I was in high school, it was like the last year when the pager was still kind of popular, you know. And remember they had the little small pagers that came out? You got to be like, I would say you probably had to be like 25 or older to know that. But you remember when the little small pager came out? And you would like, you know, everybody was like, thought it was so cool that you could like get on the little small pager and, you know, do nothing really. But anyway, she was like, what she would do is she would have other people page other people for her. And it was basically kind of like a system that she had worked out where people would page people and send, you know how people used to do the codes and stuff like that? And they would talk for her that way. Like, she might write them a note and be like, okay, call so-and-so or page so-and-so for me and tell them, you know, I like them or whatever the case may be. Like, she worked out all kind of different little systems to talk to people. She was working out like a prison kite system where she'd be like, hey, pass this note to so-and-so when you see him in practice. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, like that kind of thing. She had worked out a crazy system of communicating with people that was not because she couldn't use a phone. But what it allowed her to do was she could pretty much say anything because she knew her parents was never going to see any of the information that she was passing to people. It was all about friends passing stuff for her. It was all about codes on pagers. She would get the numbers to pay phones and just they'd be like, call me on the pay phone at school, you know, all kinds of stuff. Like, she'd have all kinds of stuff worked out. Anyway, she ended up getting away to, some people might be able to do this at your schools, I'm not for sure, but it used to be you could leave for lunch. You could leave school and go to lunch, right? So what she would do is, I don't think you had to have a permission slip. No, I'm pretty sure you didn't have to have a permission slip. You could just leave school for lunch. If she did, she forged a permission slip because I know her parents didn't let her get one. But anyway, she worked it out where she started leaving school for lunch. And she would leave school with any damn body. It didn't matter who it was. She just wanted to get out of there and she wanted to be by herself or be with her friends or something for a little while. So she didn't give a damn who she left school with. She was leaving school with the thugs, you know, that barely show up. She was leaving school with people with the weed smokers. She was leaving school with just anybody. It didn't even matter. She even had dudes that didn't go to school, you know, that dropped out and stuff, that was picking her up in school. And what I started seeing was she made a transformation right in front of my eyes. It was sad, man, because like I said, she was a cool chick and she was a really good girl, a good person, you know. And she went from like, I don't do anything, I don't curse, I don't drink, I don't smoke, to because she was going out of school with every type of person just so she could get out, she was doing whatever they did. She just had no boundaries. You know, like most of us, you get certain freedoms in middle school and elementary school that allow you to kind of understand what the boundaries are before all of this stuff is on the table. You feel what I'm saying? Like, most of this stuff ain't on the table before, you know, when you in elementary school and your mom say, okay, well, you can start going to the park over there. But you bet not leave that park. You can go across the street to that park. But if you leave that park and I catch you, I'm going to whoop your ass. You know what I mean? Like, and you had to go with some people and all that kind of stuff. It was all kind of rules, but you start getting that little bit of freedom in elementary. Then in middle school, you got a little bit more freedom. And it was before all this stuff was really on the table. But when she got her little bit of freedom, everything was on the table. It was weed, cocaine, alcohol, sex. All of this stuff was on the table. And she was exposed to every single bit of it. It just seemed like she didn't know what to say no to. It seemed like it was all the same to her. Like, one day I was seeing her smoking weed. I was like, oh, you smoke weed now? She was like, yeah, you know, I'm just trying it out. I'm just having a good time. I was like, okay, well, damn, okay. I didn't really think you did that. Then I see her drinking. I'm like, okay, you drink now? I see her, she's snorting coke. I mean, I didn't see her snorting coke, but, you know what I mean, you could tell somebody all dusty and shit. And she was. I mean, you know, and people was like, yo, she's smoking. She's snorting coke and stuff like that. Anyway, make a long story not quite as long, but still long. Anyway, she started smoking crack. This girl, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That, like, I don't know if you know how horrible that is, but most people do. But like, she started smoking crack. It was that awful. And by the time her parents found out about it, she wasn't, I don't want to say full-blown crackhead, but she was crack-ish. You know what I mean? She had lost a whole bunch of weight. She had all those telltale signs of being a crackhead. You know, she was just started, and then she ended up having to go to rehab and stuff. Anyway, her life messed up. It took her years to get herself back to just being normal. Like, she didn't graduate from high school. She went to jail a couple times. I mean, she's had a rough go of it. Anyway, her parents was trying to do the right thing, but it was like they just stifled her to the point where she didn't have no boundaries because everything was wrong. Everything was off limits. She had to be sneaky about stuff she shouldn't be sneaky about. So it was like she got so good at fooling them and tricking them that they didn't even get to see anything she was doing because she didn't have no open lines of communication with them. Everything was wrong. So it was like, if she's smoking weed, she's not going to sit here and do anything to let them know it. She's messing with older dudes and stuff like that. She ain't had no boundaries because it wasn't like her parents would say, this is wrong, this is right. Here you can do this, but you can't do that. It was like everything was off limits. I said all of that to tell you this. Some people are in relationships with other people. Some people have kids. Some people have friends, whatever the case may be. But what people do is take all of the person's freedom away when they get with them. You know, they might, or if they have a kid or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times in our relationships, we treat people just like they treated their daughter. When you get with somebody, you feel like, oh, well, my ex treated me like this. They was cheating on me all the time. So you know what? You ain't allowed to go here. You ain't allowed to go there. You don't need to be around your friends. You don't need to be hanging with a friend of yours. And I need to call you every second. And you need to pick up the phone every second, okay? And if you don't pick up that phone, I'm coming over there. And what you do is you make a person get to the point where they just become so stifled that everything becomes okay. They just want to be out. They just want to be free of the situation. They don't care what they got to do, and they don't care what the alternative is. Sometimes when you stifle a person like that, they just feel trapped, and they'll do anything to not be trapped. I promise you, I believe with every fiber of my being that if her parents would have gave her some freedom and allowed her to do some of the things that the rest of us was doing, there's no way that girl would have got on crack. There's no way. Because she really came from a good family, and she wasn't that type of person. It wasn't like she was just like, I've been doing drugs since I was 9 years old type of person. She was a not just a regular girl, she was a really, really good girl. And that happens sometimes, man. When you stifle a person so much that they don't have no freedom, it just gets to the point where they don't care anymore. And they'll be with anybody they can be with. They'll spend time with anybody they can spend time with. It's kind of like this, man. No matter how good your relationship is, just like their home was good. I met our parents. They're good people. But no matter how good your home is, no matter how good your relationship is, if a person does not feel like they have room to express themselves and be around other people and be around friends and family and all kinds of different situations where they can feel free, they're not going to want that. They're going to go to something else. It's kind of like this. If you take a dude or a girl, anybody, you take somebody and you lock them in a room with the person they most want to have sex with in the world, the food that they most want to eat, and it could be a room that looks that's just like whatever environment they want to be in. What'll happen is they might enjoy it for a second, but pretty soon they're gonna try that door. And when they realize that door is locked, they're going to be kicking, screaming, banging, doing everything in their power to get up out of that room. Because they don't want to be locked in a room. Nobody wants to be trapped. They're going to do everything they can to bulldoze that door. And they're going to get out eventually and never come back. But if you was to take that same environment and you was to take the door off, you'd have to drag that person out. They're not leaving. They're like, man, hell no, I ain't going nowhere. Man, I'm in here with the girl I want. I got the food I want. Why would I leave? Why would I go outside? You got to drag me out. You got to kill me to leave. You know, they not leaving because they're not trapped. Nobody's forcing them. So my thing is this. Give whoever you're with their freedom. Give the people in your life the freedom to grow and live. Otherwise, they will leave. Otherwise, they will do things to destruct your home. They're not going to stay there. They're going to get out. So if they want to cheat on you, if they want to do whatever they're going to do, they're going to figure out a way to do it. They're just going to become more sneaky because of the way you are. Hopefully I was able to help you out. Once again, it's your man Chazz Ellis. Make sure you hit me up on AskChazzEllis on Facebook. Also hit me up on the ChazzEllisProject.com. Also check out the channel, the Chazz Ellis Project. Also check out the Chazz Ellis Ratchet Report. That's banging. That's starting to come out again. Now check that out. Make sure you share this video with people who need to see it, because I know there are some people who need to see it. Also make sure you like and subscribe. Peace.